Hey everybody, me again. You guys enjoyed that other video so much with me in front of a green screen, I figure, why not do it again? So, let's see what we got. That's better. So I'm sure we've all heard by now, Microsoft is buying Activision Blizzard for almost $70 billion, which you can't convince me otherwise. That's not a real number. And if we're on a very steady road to having Disney and Microsoft own the entire world, the very least Microsoft can do is making sure that we're having fun while we slowly slip into a monopolistic, capitalistic dystopia. With this purchase that Microsoft is making of Activision Blizzard, not only are they getting all the obvious titles now under their belt, like Call of Duty and World of Warcraft, StarCraft, and all the other Blizzard titles, they're also getting a bunch of other titles that I had no idea Activision and Blizzard actually owned. Tenchu, Caesar, Crash Bandicoot, and Spyro the Dragon. All will belong to Microsoft when this is all over. Crash Bandicoot, the game that was one of Sony's biggest things, now falls under their biggest rival because they just had fake money to throw around, because $70 billion isn't real! Anyway, here's my top 5 games I hope Microsoft brings back now that they've acquired all these cool titles. First on the list is Phantasmagoria. FMV point-and-click adventure games have been kind of having a renaissance in the modern era, with some really fun indie titles, including that Dr. Decker, I think is one of them, and a bunch of other smaller ones that, to be fair, I haven't played. But I have played all of the old school Sierra ones, and one of my favorites of that era for how cheesy and gory and silly it is Phantasmagoria, which Microsoft now owns. So that's so weird. Listen, I'm not saying Microsoft needs to pour a ton of money into reviving point-and-click adventure titles. I'm aware they're extremely niche. But let's be real, they were cheesy and silly even back in the 80s and 90s. And I feel like Microsoft could throw a little bit of money in the corner of their office where all the point-and-click employees are, like all 3 of them huddled around a little campfire like rats. Give them a tiny budget and I feel like they would come up with something just as cheesy, silly, and fun to play nowadays. I mean, if you play them now, man, they have a charm about them, but God, that video footage is not great. Number 4 on this list is a game that I still can't believe now Microsoft will be owning, and that's gonna be Tenchu. I played Tenchu as a kid growing up on the PlayStation 1, where it all began, and as the games got older, they kind of got left behind for more modern takes on the stealth genre like Splinter Cell and the like. But recently, we've been getting more Tenchu-like stealth experiences from the indie scene. The one I'm particularly thinking of is Origami. And yeah, while we have modern AAA games introducing stealth elements like Ghost of Tsushima or literally any arcane game, all of those stealth options feel optional and pretty overpowered when the game, say like Ghost of Tsushima, is built around one-on-one frontal combat. Tenchu and games of its ilk are truly focused on the stealth element of its gameplay, making the stealth challenges much more puzzle-like and difficult, and more rewarding when you're able to get through a stage without ever being detected, where more modern comparisons rarely punish you and you're able to slip away out of the enemy's vision within an instant as their AI is just, oh god, where'd they go? And to bring it all back, Tenchu's where it all started for me, and I feel like for a lot of people, the first game that really played up that stealth element for the player. At least this next one seems to make a little more sense that Microsoft owns it, and that's Prototype as my number 3. Before Prototype, this developer actually created Hulk Ultimate Destruction, one of my favorite superhero games of the Xbox, GameCube, and PlayStation 2 era of gaming. And not the one where you had to play as nerdy-ass frickin' Dr. Banner, hiding in his dumb little stealth sections, waiting for the Gamma Dogs not to rip you apart so you can make it to the end where you could transform into the Hulk and have subpar combat. No, you were the Hulk the whole time in an open city that you could completely destroy, picking up cars and making them boxing gloves, picking up innocent civilians, running them to the top of the building and throwing them as far as you possibly could, and then jumping from said building, careening down to the road, and colliding with it like a comet here to destroy all of New York. And then they came out with Prototype, which was basically the same game, except it was his own IP, and you got cool mutant powers where you could grow blade hands or tendril arms and all kinds of stuff. And they made a sequel, which was not as bad as I think a lot of people make it out to be, but also not nearly as good as it needed to be. but had the same similar idea behind it. And if I remember correctly, it was also extremely buggy on launch. We're well overdue for a super-powered open world game where destruction and mayhem is the core gameplay loop, that you're this absolute monstrosity on the loose, whether fighting for good or evil or somewhere in between. Having the mechanics built around being this all-powerful mutant running through the city, where you can develop them as you will and develop them to your playstyle, from gliding through the air by hollowing out your bones, or jumping high into the sky by filling your legs with blood and muscle, because I think that's how it works in the game. There's a lot of potential in a prototype game. And even if you just reboot prototype with very similar mechanics and not all that much more other than modern tech behind it, I still think you would have a hell of a fun game to play nowadays. My number 2 is gonna be for like the 5 other fans that belong in my group out there with me. Give me another DJ Hero. Activision owns Guitar Hero and DJ Hero and all those musical hero games, and I think Phil Spencer said that they're definitely looking into rebooting old franchises, which included Guitar Hero. Give me DJ Hero. I had that little wooka thing, you know, little toy, that controller, that's the word I'm looking for. And so having that kind of boppy, really just fun music to play along with. Give me another one. I don't know what Dean's putting behind me right now. I'm hoping he's putting some DJ Hero footage. I just want DJ Hero again. I saw it when I was retro game hunting and I was like, I need to buy that. I do need to buy that. Reboot DJ Hero. I'll buy a new one and I will market it for you for free. And I can guarantee you at least one sale, because I'm gonna make Dean buy it too, because I'm sure we'll do a video on it and he'll need to edit it. And my number 1 game that I hope we see Microsoft flush some money into and give us a full-on resurgence of is Hexen. Sure, there's an air of sadness in my speech, knowing that we are on a road to monopolization, but I truly mean it when I say they could do something awesome with Hexen. If you don't know what Hexen is, think Doom, but dark fantasy instead, with magic wands instead of guns, and horrible demon creatures that's kinda actually just like Doom, but again, in a fantasy world. Now imagine Microsoft flushes enough money to give us a Doom 2016 style reboot on Hexen. I've been singing the praises kind of off and on of Hexen ever since I started doing Judge Mathis and collecting games for my retro game collection. Hexen was one of the first ones I sought out because as a kid, I played the demo a lot. It scared the hell out of me. I was a scared little boy, let's be real. If you've heard me talking in the Resident Evil series me and Dean are doing, you know I'm a scared boy.
Very rude.
Oh, you bitch, horse, slut! But now in my old age, I could manage a Hexen game. So give me a Hexen game in the style of a Doom 2016 reboot. Hell, you could hand it over to Bethesda because Microsoft owns Bethesda. Oh God, dude. If I have to sign up for like Army Microsoft or Army Disney in the forthcoming entertainment wars that'll certainly ravage the world, I choose death, dude. I don't want to do it.